Red Wings Live on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Spartan Stores. For locations, visit turntospartan.com. Red Wings Live is on. The team tonight was not. Chris Osgood and Darren Elliott here. I'm Mickey York. 5-1 the final from Tampa Bay. Tonight, somebody's streak was going to end. Tampa Bay with 8 straight wins at home. The Wings with 6 straight wins overall. The beat goes on, of course, for the Lightning. They've now won a franchise record 9 straight at home and reclaimed the top spot in the Atlantic. And it was as decisive of a loss as we've seen the Wings experience in a while, Ozzy.
Yeah, it sure wasn't Tampa Bay. Full marks to them coming off a loss. You knew they'd be ready tonight playing this game. They've been in first place the majority of the season. The Red Wings leapfrogged them just the last couple of days, and you had to know the Lightning were ready, and they're ready right off the drop of the puck, scoring early and often and really outskating the Wings, outmuscling them on the boards, and really taking it to them. They played very well tonight. The Wings hadn't been as sharp of late. The 2 previous games, although they won, so this was almost predictable, and they'll regroup and be good against the Islanders at home.
Yeah, the Lightning threw down the gauntlet early. Their forecheck was impressive. They created a lot of turnovers early on. They won all the board battles, and they got on the board early, and from there, they just continued to outskate and outwork. And
Cedric Paquette was all the Lightning needed tonight, and that's his first hat trick, and needless to say, he was the game's first star.
He was, and this is a good example of what we're talking about. This was the precedent set early. Cedric Paquette, see the turnover, he follows it. Great save in goal. This is when you know it's not going to be your night. Mrazek makes a fantastic save, but Paquette stays with it and gets the first goal of the game.
What I noticed most about that is the minute the Red Wing player would get a hold of the puck, there was a Tampa Lightning player on him right away, just like this here, and what a shot over Mrazek into the net. But really, Tampa Lightning were tenacious on the boards, really won a lot of board battles, and when the Red Wings did have the puck, and they'd lose it, and this is another great shot on a 2-on-1. This was shorthanded. The Red Wings power play and special teams just weren't up to snuff tonight as well. And full marks to Tampa Bay Lightning, showing why they are one of the best teams in the East.
A good rookie, Cedric Paquette, but you saw all the turnovers, the board battles, and in the open ice, a quick strike. Tampa getting it done on all fronts.
Paquette puck in the net 3 too many times for the Wings' liking tonight at the other end.
Good thing you said that. I would have bobbled that right out of bounds.
Somebody. It's going to be a long show, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Bishop was pretty good tonight as well. He's now 6-1 in his career against the Wings, and they're going to have nightmares of Bishop glove saves in their dreams tonight.
There's not a lot of goalies that can say that. The Red Wings do play goaltenders fairly tough. They're tough in front of the net, making the goalie's eyes wait. Ben Bishop is huge, though, like we said in the pregame show. This guy's got one of the best gloves in National Hockey League. He makes it easy, carries it nice and high. He's a big guy, but he's athletic as well, and his glove is probably his biggest asset. I'd say Pekka Rennie might be the only guy that may have a better glove than this guy. He's tall as it is, but he makes it look easy. Very, very good hands on a big man.
And again, when you add that kind of size with that dexterity with the catching glove, you have a real dominant goalie. And over the Red Wings, he's been dominant 6-1, as you said, Nick.
Well, where do you beat a guy like that? I mean, aren't you supposed to go high glove side on him?
Well, they scored there once, but that was just once. I think really you got to get it moving side to side. And if you're playing a goaltender that big, test his feet, because he's going to give you rebounds and get to the net. But you got to get inside, and it can't just be one and done. And we saw a lot of that tonight.
I'd say even from bad angles, test his feet.
Correct.
Make him go down, make him find pucks down low in his crease, make him really work in traffic for pucks. I mean, when he can see it, and that's the majority of the time because he's so tall, he's going to make these saves. He's very athletic. He makes those saves look easy. You got to go against his weaknesses, and that is his feet. Get the puck in his feet, make him go down, make him look for pucks, and really jam the net on him.
And that's the part of it. You can put pucks at his feet, but as Ozzy said, it takes a collective effort. You've got to jam the net. You have to have other people going there, and the Wings didn't have that kind of effort tonight.
Well, and they haven't figured that out against him in his career. He started with a 1.69 goals against average, I think, coming into tonight. Of course, that number is going to go down now after his most recent performance against Detroit. Of course, you guys look at the surface here between these two teams, and the Wings and Lightning possess all the ingredients to have a nice little rivalry here. Do you see one brewing?
I think so. I mean, certainly the Lightning use the Red Wings as a measuring stick, maybe because the captain is now the GM down there, Steve Yzerman. But you start to see a little bit of physical play from the early onset on both sides. Huge hit by Kyle Quincy, but then a real quick response by the Lightning. They certainly want to engage in this kind of play. There's a hit on Quincy in the corner.
And these are 2 very good teams, and that's what really comes from this is they're trying to beat each other up, and one team's trying to be better than the other. And really, Steve Yzerman goes down to Tampa Bay, emulates the Red Wing way, and they're trying to beat the Red Wings at their own game. Speed, skill, fast. They move the puck well from their defense up to their forwards, and they do have some aggressive guys as well. But Tampa Bay is really stacked on D. They're missing a couple of D tonight, Carl and Gudas. So this team is going to be a very good team moving forward, and come playoff time, each and every round in the East is going to be a great series.
But to me, both teams didn't have their A game. The Lightning did. If you add that element of grit that we saw in this game when both teams had their A game, that's the kind of hockey we all can look forward to.
But real animosity really builds in the postseason. That's where it's going to take root, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And they're in the same division, and now they've been battling for the top spot. So some of these, late regular season games will take on that kind of weight as well.
There's a good chance they could meet. I mean, so they're going to be Montreal or Tampa, and in all likelihood, in both series will be fabulous. And right now, and the players know that. Playing this game tonight, they realize we could meet these guys in the playoffs, so they want to make their points now. You see a couple fights, a lot of hitting going on. And don't think just because there's 35, 36 games left, players don't remember incidences like this where we just got beaten Tampa 5-1. They're going to use that for motivation. The Red Wings, next time they play, I expect their A++ game.
Well, it hasn't been much of a rivalry recently. Tampa Bay has won 6 of the last 7 in the first 2 of 4 meetings this season. All right, we're just getting rolling here on Red Wings Live. Up next, we'll show you all of tonight's highlights, and we're headed back to Tampa for post-game reaction from the Wings dressing room and Mike Babcock's one-on-one conversation with John Keating. That and more when we come back. Tonight's high-speed highlights are brought to you by Xfinity. It didn't take long for the Lightning to get on the board. Just over 2 minutes in, Jason Garrison throws one on the net. Cedric Paquette gets not 1 but 2 cracks at it. The second time at the Charmers' 7th of the season. 1-0 Bolts. The Wings get right back at it, though. Darren Helm working behind the Tampa Bay net. Nobody picks him up, so he decides to get out in front, turn, fire. And he finds the back of the twine, beating Ben Bishop top shelf. Helm's 9th of the season, ties the game at 1. The Lightning strike again, just with a minute remaining in the period. Paquette once again off the boards, beats Mrazek over the glove to give Tampa a 2-1 lead after 1. So the second, Lightning really starting to pour it on now. On the power play, they find Steven Stamkos. He unleashes the one-timer for his 27th of the season. The Lightning had a 2-goal lead at 3-1. Wings with a chance to get back in it on the power play, but they cough it up. It leads to a 2-on-1 for the Lightning, and Paquette holds on to it, snaps it by Mrazek for his 3rd goal of the night, giving the hat trick and a commanding 4-1 Tampa Bay lead. One more made the final 5-1 in a lopsided affair tonight in Tampa Bay. The 4 goals allowed by the Wings in the second period, the most they've allowed since giving up 4 in the first period to Anaheim back in 2013, and it was just one of those nights for the Wings, guys.
Yeah, the takeaways, the change of possession, unforced errors, pick your sport, pick your term, all in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Really, Tampa Bay dominated this game. From the drop of the puck right to the final buzzer tonight, they're full marks for the victory. Red Wings will look forward for sure to the rematch when they meet Tampa again.
Yeah, this was a clunker, and the captain, Henrik Zetterberg, knew it as he spoke with John Keating in the dressing room just a moment ago.
Okay, you just chalk this one up as one of those nights?
Yeah, I think first period actually not bad. We come out and play good, and then second and third we can just scratch from our memory. Obviously didn't go away. They come in and score 3 goals, one shorthanded, and then in the third it's it's game over.
The second goal in the first period, they're up 2-1. After 1 in the final minute they score. That kind of hurt and kind of turned the tables tonight.
Yeah, it did. But even that, when we were coming in after first, we felt good about ourselves. We just needed to go out and play good. We didn't do that, just got to regroup and fly home and play a good game on Saturday.
Your team has taken great pride in its ability to prevent the other team from scoring, and lately that's certainly gotten away from your team.
Yeah, it has, and I think also when you're winning a lot of games, sometimes you start to cheat a little bit, and that's when you go away from your structure and teams will score. And so we've got to learn from this and get back to play the way we should, and we'll be fine.
This is a good team that you played tonight. I guess this is a pretty good reminder of where your game has to be when you're playing against one of the other elite teams in the league.
Yeah, this is not the first elite team we played this year, but they're good. But obviously we give them a lot of free chances tonight too, and obviously it was a big game, division game, but they won this one, and we will see them again.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, plenty more from Tampa Bay still to come. Mike Babcock will join John Keating for a post-game conversation next. More from the players in the dressing room as well when Red Wings Live continues. Some pretty good hockey to take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. They're firmly in the wild card picture, just a point ahead of the Rangers. Tampa Bay, by virtue of the victory of the Wings tonight, reclaims that top spot in the Atlantic. The Islanders still holding on to a 3-point advantage over Pittsburgh in the Metropolitan Division. Well, the Wings entered tonight's game on a bit of an offensive roll, scoring no fewer than 3 goals in any of their previous 6 games. They also own the dubious distinction of tying the longest winning streak in franchise history when allowing at least 4 goals. They beat up 4 in 3 straight games coming into tonight's contest, the first time they've done that and won since November of 1992. But Mike Babcock knew giving up 4 tonight wouldn't be good enough to hold off a team like the Lightning, and boy, was he right after he saw his team give up 5. The head coach ready to talk about his team's evening with John Keating as we send it back down to Florida.
All right, Mick, thanks. You have been sort of warning everybody that it's one of these nights has been coming.
Well, we won 6 in a row. Yeah. You know, that's the way I look at it. And I thought we played a real good first period tonight, and actually even through 30 minutes, but the puck kept going in and just kept going in. And so, you know, they fed us our lunch in the end, and so we'll have a practice day tomorrow, a little later in the afternoon, and get ready for a good New York Islander team and discuss if we're going to make any roster changes or what we're going to do. But we've had a real good run, and when Howie first got hurt, if I would have said we would go 6-0 and now 6-1, no one would have believed me. So we'll flush this and get on with it.
Your team has done a terrific job of keeping the other team from scoring, and in this stretch, even though you've had wins, at least 4 goals scored on a regular basis, and I'm sure that has a concern to you.
Yeah, I know. We're giving up 2. I mean, I don't even know if they had 5 goals and they had scoring chance or something tonight. We just gave up too much. So the bottom line is the puck can't go in your net like it's going in. We got to keep working and grinding and finding ways to win games, and that's what we plan on doing.
You don't have many other options, but size up where Peter Mrazek is right now in his progression as a young goalie at the NHL level.
10-4-1. I'd say outstanding.
But the goals against obviously is a bit of an issue.
No, there's no question about it. I mean, he's a pup, and he's got NHL moxie, and he knows how to play, knows how to compete, and he's got to continue to work on his skill level, just like all young guys.
Is this a good game to have at this stage, even though you lost? I mean, it's your first loss in 7 games, but to see another elite team in your division, the team that you're going to battle for the top spot in the division from this point forward?
Well, I guess what you'd say was it a test here today? Well, we didn't get enough saves to have a test. There was no hockey game. It was 5-1 right away, you know. So I don't know about that. They're a good team for sure. I think we're better than the result here tonight, and that's just the way it goes. We'll get it tomorrow.
Little suggestion, you might have different look on Saturday against the Islanders?
Well, I don't know. We'll watch the game on the plane like I always do, and come in tomorrow and like I always do, and make a decision like I always do.
We'll see you practice tomorrow.
Thanks.
Head coach Mike Babcock and the Wings regrouping after a tough night here in Tampa. Mick?
All right, John, thank you. Up next, we'll take you inside the Red Wings dressing room. Thomas McCollum pressed into action tonight to did a nice job in the 3rd period of tonight's game. We'll catch up with him when we come back. Darren Helm is tonight's Fox Sports Detroit Red Wings Player of the Game, as presented by the single, double, and triple cheeseburgers from McDonald's. Scored the Wings' only goal tonight, is 9th of the season. Also managed 3 shots on net in a little over 16 minutes of work. 5-1 the final from Tampa tonight. The Lightning win their 3rd straight home game against the Wings, and in doing so, take back the Atlantic Division lead. They also now lead the 4-game season series 2-0. Peter Mrazek, after getting up 5 goals in the first 2 periods, didn't come out for the 3rd. Thomas McCollum got the call and found himself busy. Saved all 17 shots he faced in the final period. And he's talking with John Keating now in this interview, brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards.
All right, Mick, thanks. All right, you come in relief again, and I guess you're one of the few bright spots tonight. Size up your evening, if you would.
I mean, I was pretty busy in the 3rd period. I thought the guys did a really good job keeping a lot of the shots to the outside, and I could see a lot of them clean, so it makes it a lot easier for me.
Is it frustrating to be in the situation that you're in when you now put 2 good appearances together? You're still looking for that first start?
No, I don't think it's frustrating at all. I mean, obviously, I'd really like to start, but Peter's a great goalie, and he's been playing well and getting a lot of wins. And, you really have to ride the hot hand, and you can't go away from a guy that's winning games for you.
Are you surprised that your team has allowed as many goals as your team has allowed lately?
Yeah, it's definitely not a characteristic of this team, but at the same time, I think it's just a few things here and there that we need to sharpen up, and I think we'll be back on track.
How much for you personally tonight was a step forward in your hockey progression?
I mean, like I said, I felt great out there tonight, but the guys really stepped it up after I got in and gave me a lot of clean lanes and made the job a lot easier for myself.
And these are building blocks, right, for where you are right now as a guy who's in the system, but with some goalies ahead of you.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something I can build off of. Like I said, I felt good out there today, and I just need to keep doing that every day I show up to the rink.
Tommy, thanks.
John Keating described Thomas McCollum as one of the bright spots tonight. And he was. It was that kind of night for the Wings, but it's not an easy position to come into the game at the time that he did and play like he did.
Let me take this one. This is what I know about mop-up duty. Okay, Thomas McCollum, double thumbs up. That's fantastic, because that's not, you can get lit up very easily. He was being very complimentary to his teammates. Yeah, there were some lanes, but there were a lot of great looks, because this is the kind of game that can end up 8-1, and you're feeling bad about yourself. He goes in, he makes 17 saves, some great saves, all because he's just trying to survive. Building blocks, whatever. He's an athlete. He's just playing the position. You're really not in a position to win the game. Yeah, you want to start and you hope that that's what you get to, but really what he did is show that he is a committed athlete. Good for him. Whether he ever gets that start that he wants, tonight he'll always be able to chalk it up to, I went in there, did what I had to do.
No, if anything, if the former first-round draft pick, and there's a lot of pressure when he first got drafted, to be honest, and he would even admit it, he didn't really deal with it that well. He didn't do a great job when he first turned pro. He had a great year last year, and the one thing I can say about Thomas McCollum, he's a battler, he's a fighter, he never ever gives up, and I got to compliment him. He played very, very well tonight, and when he went in there at home, he looked a little nervous. Obviously, it was only his second time playing in the Joe, and that can do that to any goalie, trust me, I know that. But tonight, I thought he looked comfortable, he looked very good, and if anything, he gives Mike Babcock something to think about on the plane. Maybe he might consider starting him against the Islanders just to see what he's got, and he'll reevaluate that as well. But good for Thomas, played really solid against a very good Tampa team, stopped Stamkos a bunch of times, feather in his cap tonight.
It was.
All right, what about Peter Mrazek? Loses for the first time in 6 games tonight, but he's allowed at least 4 goals now in 3 or 4 straight games. How much of a concern is there regarding him?
He wins games. I mean, he definitely does that. He's done that his whole career. He's done it from junior on. And the one thing about him is he's going to be the guy that's least worried of anybody. And we forget sometimes because he's played so well.
Right.
He was a star in the World Junior Tournament. He was a star in junior. He was a star in the AHL. Won the Calder Cup as a rookie. So our expectations suddenly skyrocket. Now, plays great when he's been up here, but this is a different animal. He's expected to be, it's different trying to be a #1 goalie on a regular basis in the National Hockey League and be consistent. We see it with Kemper in Minnesota. He's a very good young goalie, but it's tough to play every game as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old goalie. And I think that's what we're seeing. Are these bad goals? No, but he's capable of stopping them. And I think this is just the progression of him growing as a young goalie with lots of potential in the NHL.
Well, he's going to have to tighten up on his mechanics and stuff. He's only 22, as you talked about, so there's lots of room to grow. Everybody, every player, no matter what age, you have to get better each step of your career. The thing that he's going through right now is there's no one to spell him. Maybe it's Thomas McCollum now, but going in, it's different when you say you have to play every game. When it's the only option, you are the only option. There's nowhere to turn if you have a bad moment, which he's had. And now you have to take a look at his gut check time in that game for that game on Saturday.
But if you're thinking McCollum could start on Saturday against the Islanders, that's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But now, before I would say never, but now the crack is in the door just a little bit. Mrazek will probably start. And in Mrazek's career, this is building blocks. He's not going to be great every game. It's a 22-year-old goaltender. He's going to have his ups and downs. And now you see that when he plays once every or twice every 10 games, he has 2 great games. Everybody, oh, play more, play more. Well, now he's played 6, 7 in a row, and that's what you're going to see. Now you're going to see, like the players that are young on this team, the inconsistencies, but only with a goalie, you see it more blatantly than you see with the other guys that are on forward or on defense.
You see it on the scoreboard. And then when things are going, you know, one of the things, when things are going poorly, one thing that Peter Mrazek, and the difference with, don't forget, Jimmy Howard was having an all-star campaign, and the penalty kill was outstanding. Jimmy Howard had the best save percentage in penalty kill situations in the entire National Hockey League. So he was living up to the old adage, your best penalty killer has to be your goaltender. That was the case. That's one big difference between what was going on before and one thing that's going on with Peter Mrazek now.
This is the exact same thing happened to Jimmy Howard. And I play with him. I've seen him go through it, the ups and downs. And when I was out of the lineup and injured, Jimmy Howard had the same stuff going. Now Jimmy Howard's 30 years old. He's a star goalie. He's one of the best goalies in the world right now. Let's not forget that. He's the guy. If this team wants to go where they want to go, he's the guy. And now do they have a great young goalie coming up? Yeah, they do. So they're in a position A plus and A. They have a great situation.
And don't forget, we're playing the third goalie on the depth chart. We always forget about the monster who's kind of disappeared from the ranks.
Right, and to your point about the penalty kill, the Wings now have given up a power play goal in 6 straight games. So,
and that's why the goals against are elevated. You know, that 4 goals against in the last 4 games, that's a big part of it.
All right, Red Wings Live continues. We'll check back in with the gentleman that called tonight's game. Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond return with the booth report from Tampa right after this brief commercial timeout. Red Wings Live is brought to you by Spartan Stores. For locations, visit turntospartan.com. Menards, save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Nissan, choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop choosenissan.com. Well, as good as the Wings have been on the road, and they took a 3-game road winning streak with them into Tampa tonight, the Lightning usually don't serve up a lot of hospitality to their visitors. Their 20th home victory of the season is now the best in the NHL, one better than Nashville. Ken and Mick standing by at the scene of the crime as we welcome them back for tonight's booth report. Gentlemen?
I'll sum up this game in a losing standpoint for the Red Wings and from Tampa Bay's side of things with 3 words. Timing is everything.
It is, and it was anybody's game until about 35 seconds left in the first period when Paquette scored his first of 3, and you're now a second of 3, really. You're not supposed to score from this position. Mrazek was down, top corner, nice shot, but 3-on-3 in the corner, not supposed to do it. Here, Stamkos, top of the circle, way too far out. I don't think it was deflected, and it's a goal that probably Peter Mrazek would like to have back. And then Paquette completes the hat trick with the shorthanded goal. They got on. Boyle gets on Zetterberg quickly there. This one was the backbreaker for sure. Makes it 4-1, and this game was over. Boyle joins the rush. Bang. Nice shot there. First career hat trick for a young 21-year-old Cedric Paquette. So, yeah, you're right. Timing was big. Mrazek didn't have a good night in the goal. And other than that, it could have been anybody's game. But then every time you turn around, the puck's going in the net, and you end up looking embarrassed at 5-1.
Yeah, but it could have been worse, but for a 17-for-17 third period by Thomas McCullum.
All right, more McKenna-Mick a little later on in the show, but here now is a look at the upcoming game schedule brought to you by your Detroit area Honda dealers. The Wings return home for a matchup Saturday afternoon against another top Eastern Conference team, the New York Islanders, coming to town. And it's back out on the road with trips to Colorado, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. We're not done yet. Up next, we'll hit the reset button on tonight's show. We'll bring you more from the Wings room in Tampa. John Keating's conversation with Red Wings defenseman Nicholas Kronwall next. I guess you got to take your hat off to the Lightning tonight, specifically to Cedric Paquette. The Lightning forward turned the goal light on 3 times, completing the hat trick in the second period. The first hat trick of his career, leading the Lightning to a convincing 5-1 win tonight. It's the first time a player has netted a hat trick against the Wings since March of 2010 when Andrew Ladd turned trick for the Blackhawks. The good news for Ozzy, he was on the bench for that one and not between the pipes. Osgood comfortably seated here at the desk with Darren Elliott. I'm Mickey York, back with you here on Red Wings Live. The Wings attempt to win 7 straight for the first time since 2012. Comes up well short in Tampa Bay, and the Wings just ran into a bit of a buzzsaw tonight.
Yeah, they did. Tampa was on point from the beginning. They came out, they skated well. They didn't like the fact that they lost to the Canes coming out of the All-Star break. So they were ready, and they threw it down and continued on for 60 minutes.
Yeah, I thought tonight, like Zetterberg and Datsuk, who are the Red Wings' best players, when this was a game, the Tampa Bay, after losing to, like Darren said, to Carolina, you knew Steven Stamkos, their best player, was going to show up, and he was exactly that. He was very good tonight, especially in the second period. This is an all-star player, superstar. He doesn't play on the outside. He takes the puck to the hole. He plays on the inside, and he competes really hard. I thought he really led the charge here for the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight.
Yeah, he reminded us how good he can be, and it wasn't just because he potted his 27th of the season on that power play.
It wasn't that. He took the puck to the net. He makes guys better around him. Yes, he has a huge shot. Ovechkin has a huge shot too, but Stamkos takes the puck to the net. Ovechkin does a lot of his action around and away from the net. Stamkos does a very good job. Here's his goal. He has a great shot, a wicked shot, actually one of the best in the NHL, if not the best. But what I'm most impressed by him is you saw him around the Red Wings goal a lot tonight. He plays the body. He plays the game the right way, Darren.
He does. And as you said, he attacks the middle of the ice. He attacks from so many different angles. He's not a one-dimensional scorer. He has 27 goals on the season. But in that second period, the Red Wings have been a team that's taken over games in the second period. That point wasn't lost on the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they came out, they really skated well in the second period. They were led by Steven Stamkos, who had 5 shots at the goal in that second period alone. So they were aware of it, and their leader led the way in that second frame.
Yeah, that 3-goal second period put the game away, not the 4 like it felt like, because they scored that last one in the first minute of the first period. John Keating, by the way, still working in the Wings room in Tampa. He's with Wings defenseman Nick Cronwall as we send it back down to Florida.
It was bad, no doubt about that. I'm sure there's been some other ones that have been not great as well.
This is kind of be a wake-up call that Mike's been saying the past few days that he hasn't been happy with the details, but maybe they're easier to overlook when you guys are winning.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You know, we can only cheat ourselves for so long. There's a lot of things that needs to be better and needs to be improved.
After they scored early, it seemed like you guys regrouped and were having a pretty good first period, but then they scored that late goal there in the first. Did that kind of take a little bit of the wind out of the sails?
No, it shouldn't. I didn't think at the time that it did. I thought, like you said, I thought the first period was pretty good, actually. Maybe not as good right off the bat, but I thought once Quincy made that big hit, we got going. Thought, you know, first period was pretty good. After that, kind of went downhill.
Was the shorty the killer?
It doesn't help, but you got to find a way. That's no excuse. You just got to find a way to stick with it and keep doing the right things. And unfortunately, tonight we didn't do that for long enough.
As far as defensively, is it just lack of attention to details, or there's something wrong structurally, or what's going on right now, you think?
I thought, you know, the second and the third, I think there are a lot of things that needs to be better. You know, the structure that we have, when we do it right, it works. We know that. And when we don't do it right, that's when it doesn't work. So there are a lot of things that needs to get better here.
It's been a tough stretch for Peter as one of the veterans. What do you say to him?
Well, Peter's been great for us all year long, so, you know, no fault on him. The rest of us, we have to bear down and do a better job in front of him. I'm sure there's one or two maybe that you'd like to get back tonight, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Other games he's stolen for us, so, you know, no fault on him.
Thanks, Nick.
Nick Cronwall will bring you tonight's Total Impact, brought to you by Total Hockey. We're going to give it to the lone bright spot for the Wings tonight, down 1-0 in the first. Darren Hell scoring the Wings' only goal of the evening, beating Ben Bishop top shelf. That momentarily tied the game at 1, but that's where all the scoring would end for the Wings tonight. Up next, the Wings continue to weigh in on their tough loss in Tampa. Thomas Tatar on tap when Red Wings Live continues. If you've been watching the Red Wings regularly here on Fox Sports Detroit, you know that we are in the midst of the 13 characteristics that make Pavel Datsyuk the player he is today. Tonight, we take a look at the fourth quality that makes number 13 the Magic Man.
If there were one attribute that put the name Pavel Datsyuk on the mind of every hockey fan in the world, it would be those magical hands.
To Datsyuk, what a move! Right in, scores!
Wow.
Oh, a Datsyukian deke, that's a beauty! Datsyuk, finds it, Licky, scores! Oh, was that magic?
Weaving in between defenders' legs, picking a foe's pocket, winning crucial face-offs, pulling the puck behind his back, faking out a goalie with an impossible last-second deke. There's no weapon missing from Pavel Datsuk's arsenal. All those skills were on display in Game 1 of last season's playoff matchup against the Boston Bruins.
Just 3 to play in the third. Datsuk. Shooting. Scores! Pavel Datsuk. 1-0 Detroit.
Datsuk's dynamic dexterity sits firmly at #1 on the Magic Man's 13 magical qualities.
Pavel Datsuk picked up an assist tonight on the Helm goal. He now has 6 points in his last 7 games, and he's now 1 assist shy of tying Sergei Fedorov for 5th in Red Wings history. But it wasn't nearly enough as the Wings get trucked in Tampa 5-1. Thomas Tatar, meanwhile, came into tonight's game with 8 points in his last 7, but the Lightning forced him to come up empty tonight. In a now nearly empty Wings dressing room, Tatar is with John Keating.
It's a tough game when you have to outscore the opposition to the degree that you have. I know your team likes to score, and you've been scoring lots lately, but this is a pretty good reminder that you need to play both ends of the ice.
I mean, it's I don't think we played bad, but whatever they shot end up in, you know, it was a good shot, and Peter didn't have much chance. I mean, there's games like this, and I don't think we play as bad in the D zone. It's just, you know, when they shoot like that and pucks going in, it's tough to respond on that.
Because you're first in the division going into tonight's game, did this one have a different feel? It's early. We're still in January, but could you feel that this game had a little bit more juice to it?
No, not really. They have a good team, and it's fun to play against them for sure. And we were excited to come to this game, but they, like I said, their pucks just went in, and it's hard to respond, like you are saying. Like, they have a good team. It's hard to come back when you're down 5-1.
Did you get the sense that they were on the attack from the get-go tonight, and you were sort of weathering the storm early?
Not really. Like, we tied it, and we thought we were good, but they scored a power play goal, you know, and get them going again, and they scored. I mean, it was a tough loss for us, but I mean, we will shake it off and get ready for next game.
Thomas, thanks.
All right, still more to come on Red Wings Live. As painful as it may be, we'll subject you to tonight's instant replay. What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger. It's for the betterment of us all. The more you know. Well, not all regular season hockey games are created equal, but the matchup between the Wings and Lightning tonight had some juice to it. At least as much juice as you can squeeze out of a January 29th game. But after a good first period, it was the Wings that were freshly squeezed and ended up getting beaten to a pulp. Enjoy your dose of vitamin C in tonight's instant replay.
It's the second of 4 meetings. Lightning won the first in Detroit in a shootout. Tampa looking for a franchise record 9th straight home win. The Red Wings have won 6 in a row overall.
Knocked off stride was Cedric Paquette, number 13. Sheehan was hooked, couldn't get to the puck as a result. Puck knocked it. What a save! And they score on the rebound. Paquette.
And there's been a lot of other contributors for sure. Darren Helm's having a great year and so on. Glenn Denning and all the guys we've talked about. But those 3, boy, oh boy.
Here's Helm right up front with it. Score!
Speaking of the devil. Wow. What a play by Helm, and they stood around like a bunch of pylons on the side of the road and watched them.
Drouin lost it at the line. Red Wings breaking through, and they're going. Glendening gives it to Sheehan. He's in all alone. Saved by Bishop. And they've got the puck in check, but out of the crowd. Paquette scores. Oh, what a shot. He's got both. Drouin got it to the line. Stroman. Stamkos scores.
There it is. That was pretty far out, too.
These two teams will meet 2 more times next month or in March. Paquette scores! Hat trick! Paquette! The first of his career. And a shorthanded goal at that.
Imagine that. 20,000 people in Joe Louis Arena for those youngsters in college.
Scores! Right off the draw! final. The Lightning have won a franchise record 9 straight at home, and a great third period for that man, Thomas McCollum. Good job.
Paquette, Hattie Stamkos has scored in 4 of his last 5 versus the Wings. Bright spots few and far between for the Wings tonight, guys.
Yeah, one bright spot. Thomas McCollum, 17 saves in the third period. Great game for him. Maybe a building block for him moving forward.
And Darren Helm continues to play really well. You saw in the highlights his goal. Good speed, playing the wing, doing an excellent job.
All right, Wayne's got to flush this one and then get ready to get back at it on Saturday. The New York Islanders competing with both the Wings and Lightning for the top spot in the East, and they're next for the Wings. We'll preview another tough matchup for the Red and White when we come back. The Red Wings will take tomorrow off before returning home to take on one of the surprise teams in all of hockey, the New York Islanders, on Saturday afternoon. Red Wings Live will get your hockey day started at 1:30. Puck drop comes your way at 2 o'clock. With a preview here once again is Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond.
So while Tampa's atop the East, the Islanders and the Red Wings are right behind them, and the Islanders, Mick, I guess along with the Nashville on the other side over in the West, have maybe been the surprise story of this season.
Well, one of the great stories over in the Island is Halak, the goaltender. I mean, he's just been really good, and he solidified that whole situation over in the Island. And when that season began, and they had made the trade for the first pick and all that stuff going on, everybody went, holy criminy, they're in trouble. Tavares has had a great year. They've lost a Poso to injury, but there's some of the numbers that they're putting up. There isn't anybody they haven't beaten this year. They've been really, really good right off the hop, and it starts in goal with Halak, and it certainly gives them a benefit right. You look tonight, didn't get it, the goaltending for Detroit, but with the Islanders, they got it, and Detroit will have to equal that on Saturday afternoon.
Well, maybe the Red Wing power play will get some time, because you saw their penalty killings 29th, and they made 2 big moves to shore up their blue line in Johnny Boychuk and Nick Leddy.
All right, guys, thank you. So you go from the top team in the Atlantic to the top team in the Metro. The Wings will be anxious to get that bad taste out of their mouths, but the Isles have already beat them once at the Joni. They'll be fired up to do it again.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, I like John Tavares. What I've been most impressed with, he came in as an 18-year-old. He hasn't changed. They've gotten much better, as the guys were just talking about, around him. He's a superstar in this game now.
What I like is what Gar Snow has done. You got Halak, and I'm not a huge fan of Halak, but he's played very, very well this year. He's really proven me wrong. I think the gets of Boychuk and Leddy, 2 guys that won the Stanley Cup, you bring them into that dressing room with nobody that's won, let alone even made the playoffs or won a playoff series, has made a huge difference. This team is for real this year.
Yeah, they generally play a tight style of hockey. It was a tight game the last time. Islanders winning 2-1 at the Joe. Pistons back on our air tomorrow night, beginning at 7 o'clock. Once again, the Fada from Tampa Bay this evening. The Lightning 5, the Red Wings 1. For Darren and Nazi and all of us here at Fox Sports Detroit, thanks for watching. Good night, kids.